Hello, everyone. We are now within 30 days before the holiday of Pesach, and I'd like to start a brand new series called Misconceptions About Pesach. There are so many people out there that have these misconceptions about Pesach, and I don't mind it. That's your private business, but I think it does harm to the Jewish people and actually goes ahead and distances people from Jewish law and from the beauty of Pesach, because when you wash your walls, wash your windows, and go crazy about Pesach above and beyond what Jewish law requires, many a times you don't bring people closer to Pesach, but rather go ahead and distance them from it. And all I ask is the following. After this series, if I've achieved one thing, and that is that when you wash your walls for Pesach, or you cover your trunk with tinfoil and you say, this is what I do, I've achieved. If you don't say, I'm doing it for Pesach, then I've succeeded. I'm not asking you to change anything you've always done. I'm only asking, don't blame it on Pesach and don't attribute it with Jewish law. Dedicating it especially today, Tet Zayin Adar, to the loving memory of Lucy Maya and Rena D, who 12 months ago today were brutally shot and eventually murdered. Misconception number 1 about Pesach. You can't daven Maariv early on the night of the Seder. I'm not dealing with the second night of Yontiv and Chutz La'aretz. I'm dealing now with the first night. There is no such thing. You can daven Maariv early on the first night of Yontiv. What you can't do is to start the Seder early. The opening Tosfot in the last perek of Masechet Pesachim called Arvei Pesachim says that even though every single Shabbos and Yontiv you can start early, what we call an early Shabbos, which we usually do in daylight savings time, you can't do it on the night of the Seder. Kadesh and onwards has to be after nightfall. Not so with Maariv. He doesn't talk about Maariv, and indeed the Shulchan Aruch, which paskins like the Tosfot, doesn't talk about Maariv. And therefore, I don't see any reason whatsoever that you should daven Maariv after nightfall if you usually do an early Maariv on a regular Shabbos or Yontiv. More so, on the night of the Seder where there's so much to do, don't you want the children to be up and awake? Therefore, there's even more of a reason to daven Maariv early. Therefore, Kadesh has to be at nightfall. So case scenario, there is a nightfall at 7:23. If you daven Maariv early and you come home and you say hello to Uncle Nate, Aunt Millie, you get everyone around the table, you give words of introduction, you get everyone ready at 7:23 exactly, you make Kiddush, the Seder will start on time, and God willing, you'll be able to have everyone awake far longer than if you do this misconception of davening Maariv at nightfall bedavka. Now, once again, if you always daven Maariv at nightfall, then you should on the Seder night too. But if you do a Shabbos that's early, then there's no reason not to do it on the night of the Seder. With one little halachic knetch, and that is, if you have the custom of saying Hallel on the night of the Seder in Shul, can you do it early? Namely, can you say it at an early Maariv before nightfall? That, God willing, will be something we'll deal with tomorrow.